reality here. You might know me as ApplePie Movement. I'm a humanitarian sharing the conversations with humanity which need to be heard. In today's conversation with Angela Wilcox, we discuss how she has used her platform of art installations to speak to social justice topics such as racism, classism, sexism, the fires in Australia, to gangs in Long Beach. So come on, grab a piece of pie and join our conversation. And as a painter and a sculptor, what were the focal points of your art when you were shown in galleries?
I'm an abstract painter, but I'm also was a huge installation artist. Mm-hmm. And particularly on the East Coast, I used to do a lot. So I was a well-known painter and drawer. So a lot of my practice these days is to do with, I just did a project up in Pasadena where I spent a year and a half doing large portraits of the locals while I collected stories. And again, in a bad neighborhood, and we collected the stories, and the stories were accessible on the public transport through QR codes, so people could sit on the buses and listen to the stories of their neighborhood.
Wow. No, I mean, this is so innovative. I have never heard of an artist merging their art with technology and local communities and local neighborhoods. I mean, QR codes so you can listen to the story of your neighborhood.
Right.
That itself is powerful, because how many communities don't even know their neighbors? We live in a society where people don't really socialize any longer.
Right. And art is actually a really good way of breaking into a community.
Really? How so?
Well, people are always enamored, of my drawing quality and the fact that I can draw, and oh my gosh, and I should be able to draw because I've been drawing it's a business. It's a technique for over 30 years, so I should. But people put artists on this sort of pedestal and they go, oh my God, you can draw. And so if I actually sit in a cafe and draw for 3 hours, they actually see these portraits, which are huge. They're 6 to 8 feet.
Oh, wow.
And, sort of come out of the wall. They come up to me and they want to know what I'm doing and who I am. And that's where the conversation again starts. And it also breaks down the notion that art is only for galleries and only for the elite. Mm-hmm. That art is just, it's just local.
Mm-hmm. What type of installation pieces did you create on the East Coast?
I had a big one at the High Museum where that was the step, which was a proposal to put over 5,000 silicone orbs with horsehair into an elevator. So
silicone orbs with horsehair? Yeah. So
again, you'll see them up on the fridge. The idea was again community based. So the idea is that the elevator is the artery, and the artery to a museum. So when you walk into the elevator, there was this beautiful, you were completely enveloped in silicone with horsehair, and the horsehair made a beautiful painting experience. Mm-hmm. And it was questioning the fact that what was the time with anthrax and HIV, was on the sort of, everybody was scared of being able to come into contact with people. So it's this notion of something that is beautiful, but once you get close, you're quite repulsed by it. Right? So it was to go in the elevator, and in actual fact it was shut down because everybody was repulsed by it, but it was beautiful. So we ended up covering all the walls, and I spent again 5 months doing sewing bees and having random people over to sew all the horsehair into the hand sculptured little pink orbs. And we magnetized it to the wall of the High Museum, a couple of walls, so that people could come and take the actual objects home. And so, like a virus, it went out into the public. So I was really quite well known for that sort of stuff.
How did you create that? How did you dream up something like that?
It's my job. I actually think that's my job. That's what I do. I'm born in, my art, I'm an older artist. I didn't start art until I was 30, and it was in the conceptual era, and it was really important that I create art that had meaning. Mm-hmm. So one of my other one was I worked in Atlanta, and my mentor was this fabulous African-American guy, and so I spent months cleaning out chitlins, which is what the slaves used to eat. It was left over and they were able to eat. It was one of the few sort of meat items that they were allowed to eat. So a lot of African Americans ate chitlins, and so I would go down to the markets and I would buy all these chitlins, and then I'd stretch them in my studio, and then I ate chewing gum and then stuck them on a wall, a 16-foot wall by 20 feet, 18 feet, and it was like this. It completely covered the entire wall. Again, addressing beautiful from afar. You got up close, and this whole thing would sag with the humidity or stretch with the humidity, and it was stuck together with bazooka bubblegum, which is really contemporary and plastic and very childhood, and corsage pins, which is also about the tradition of Southern belle.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for joining us, and I look forward to seeing all of you next week. Have a great week. Thank you so much. And thank you for being a great apple.
Thanks, Natalie. That was great. Done.
Thank you.